I thank you for taking the time to read this work. I have been in your position many times and spending many hours listening to Muslim scholars and leaders speak on the Bible and the Christian faith and reading many of their related books. Listening to someone from the other side, as such, can be uncomfortable. I welcome your attention and hope you find this work helpful. As noted, I am writing primarily to my fellow Christians, but I wish to ensure that, should you desire to know how a Christian apologist, theologian, and minister hears your sacred text and religious beliefs, you can do so here. Also, I ask you to realize that I cannot delve into all the minutiae that separate various groups. I know there are differences, sometimes very wide ones, laden with emotion and zeal that mark off Islamic divisions. I will focus as much as possible on majority views and sometimes note when a particular group diverges from the main body of Sunni belief. Often, I use expressions like most Muslims, many Muslims, or the like to avoid attributing to the entire Islamic world a belief that is not or may not be universal. But should I mistakenly fail to make proper distinction when addressing a particular belief, please extend to me a small modicum of mercy in the matter. If I do not specifically delineate your own viewpoint, please believe I am doing my best to address the topics as fairly as possible. I have a deep-seated, heartfelt compassion for your believing community. I recognize that we share much in common. The Qur'an speaks of God's sovereign power, His creatorship, His immutability, His essential oneness, and divine prerogatives, all truths I confess and believe, even if classical Islamic belief denies that I do. However, I also realize that our most basic differences, especially seen in our views of Tawhid and the Trinity, in our understanding of who Jesus was and is, and in our proclamation of how one can have peace with God and an assurance of acceptance with Him leading to eternal life, do separate us in matters of confession, faith, and practice. I do not believe I honor God, the truth, myself, or my Muslim friends if, in any way, I whitewash or minimize significant disagreements. May I suggest, against the trends of contemporary culture, that to ignore our differences or refuse to discuss them forthrightly is itself an act of disrespect to your faith and to mine? In other words, I respect those who disagree with me enough to tell them when I believe they are wrong. The world today says we cannot openly disagree, especially in the area of religion, without being hateful or bigoted. I suggest that, conversely, it is the world's attitude that is hateful and bigoted. If we will not say that anything is wrong, then at the same time, whether or not we want to admit it, we also are saying there is nothing that is right. Herein, we are denying the existence of truth in the realm of faith, and that is a slap in the face of every believer of every creed or background. I sincerely hope you can hear my heart and will keep these words in mind as you listen.